She tried to discredit him on live TV. His response changed everything. The email came late in the afternoon, a short, formal message from the producers of The Morning Exchange, one of the most popular talk shows in the country. They wanted Darius Bell, tech entrepreneur and CEO of Innovis, to appear on their upcoming episode about diversity in business. Darius had seen this sort of thing before, a big network suddenly remembering that Black entrepreneurs exist, bringing them on for a few minutes of praise before moving on to the next trending topic. But this felt different. Innovis wasn't just any company. They had just secured a multi-million-dollar defense contract, beating out some of the most powerful names in the industry. That wasn't luck. That was 20 years of hard work and discipline. Still, Darius hesitated before agreeing. Something about it felt off. His assistant, Tasha, noticed. "You sure you want to do this?" she asked. "You know how these shows are. They love to lift you up for a moment, but they love tearing you down even more." Darius leaned back in his chair. "I'll handle it. Besides, it's national exposure. Let's hear what they have to say." Tasha sighed, shaking her head. "Just don't let them trap you." He nodded, but deep down, he knew the game. If this was a setup, they were playing chess with the wrong person. The morning of the interview, Darius arrived at KXNT Studios in Los Angeles. The air in the green room was cool and clinical. A young producer greeted him without looking up from her clipboard. "Mr. Bell, thanks for coming. We'll mic you up in 5. No small talk, no smile, just routine. As he sat in the makeup chair, an assistant dabbed powder on his face with mechanical precision. The monitor on the wall showed the live broadcast, a panel arguing about celebrity scandals, followed by a cooking demo. Then a transition card flashed. Coming up next, the Black Tech Boom, talent or special treatment. Darius clenched his jaw. So this was their angle. But if they thought they could catch him off guard, they were about to be disappointed. The set of the Morning Exchange was designed to look calm and welcoming. Soft blue and gold lights, a glass table between the host and guest. Cameras hovered like silent observers, ready to capture every gesture. Darius adjusted his suit jacket as he sat down across from Madeline Royce, the show's main anchor. She was a polished journalist with a reputation for sharp questions. She smiled, but her eyes stayed cold. Darius Bell, CEO of Innovis, a true American success story. Darius nodded. "Appreciate you having me." She leaned forward slightly, flipping through her cue cards. "Let's get right to it. Your company recently landed a $200 million government contract, beating out some of the most powerful names in the industry. That's impressive." Darius recognized the pattern. Build them up first, then cut them down. "It was a long process," he said calmly. "But we put in the work. Our encryption technology outperformed the competition. Simple as that." Madeline crossed her legs. Some have called it groundbreaking. She paused, her tone shifting. But others have raised questions. Darius didn't move. Questions? She picked up a card and read aloud. "Some industry voices say Innovis benefited from certain federal diversity programs, that perhaps agencies wanted to diversify their contractors, giving companies like yours an advantage, that this wasn't just about being the best, but meeting a quota." So there it was, the real reason he was invited. Darius waited a moment before answering. "I've heard that before. It's interesting, isn't it? When a Black entrepreneur wins, people call it special treatment. But when the same families and legacy corporations win over and over again, no one questions it." The air shifted. The producers behind the cameras exchanged quick looks. Madeline didn't back down. "So you're saying race played no role at all in your success?" Darius chuckled softly. "Let me ask you this. When SpaceX got NASA contracts, was it because Elon Musk met a diversity quota? When Jeff Bezos won government deals, was it because of his background? Or do we only ask those questions when the CEO looks like me?" Her expression stayed composed, but her eyes narrowed slightly. "So you don't believe diversity programs help?" "They help balance the field," Darius said. "But what most people forget is that the field was never equal to begin with." But Madeline wasn't done. She had something else prepared. Her smile tightened just a bit. "Let's talk about that playing field," she said, shifting her tone.
You grew up in Birmingham, Alabama, single mother, public school. You worked your way up from nothing. That's inspiring. Darius gave a slow nod, knowing where she was headed. But here's what some people might wonder. How does someone with no Ivy League education or powerful family connections go from a struggling neighborhood to winning contracts billion-dollar firms couldn't? The question hung heavy. Darius tilted his head slightly. It's called work, Madeline. Some of us don't have old money or country club networks, so we build everything ourselves. Madeline gave a small nod, pretending to listen. But surely you had help somewhere. Maybe a mentor, a program, something that gave you an extra push. Darius exhaled. Yeah, help came in the form of working 3 jobs while finishing my engineering degree. Help came from sleeping in my office because I couldn't afford rent. That's the help I got. For a brief moment, Madeline's lips tightened. Still, she continued, some say Black entrepreneurs today have more opportunities than ever. Affirmative action, minority business grants, government incentives. Wouldn't you agree those open doors that used to be closed? You know, it's funny. When a Black business owner succeeds, people ask what program helped us, but no one asks which old money bank helped a white startup. No one asks which golf buddy invested in their company. Success isn't handed out like lottery tickets. People like me had to work twice as hard just to get noticed. The studio grew still. The tension was almost visible. Madeline's smile returned, calculated and cool. That's an interesting take, she said. But let's talk about perception. She turned a bit toward the camera. Some say the media gives too much attention to stories like yours, that the narrative of overcoming struggle is more marketable than the thousands of white entrepreneurs who also work hard but don't get the same spotlight. Darius let out a quiet laugh. Oh, so now we get too much attention. Her polished smile faltered just a bit. You're telling me that in a world where most Fortune 500 CEOs are white men, where most venture capital still goes to white-owned companies, the real issue is that we get too much press? I'm just saying, Madeline replied, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear, that in today's climate, some people feel pressure to highlight diversity over pure merit. Merit, Darius repeated. You really think I'd be sitting here if I wasn't exceptional at what I do? You think I'm here because of my color, or because I succeeded in spite of the barriers you pretend don't exist? The silence that followed was sharp. Madeline tried again. I respect your passion, Darius, but don't you think some of this outrage might be exaggerated? After all, your success proves the system isn't as broken as people claim. Darius almost smiled. It's funny, he said. People love fairy tales, especially when they're the ones living inside them. The silence was tight. Let's be honest, he continued. Black entrepreneurs are still denied loans twice as often. We still get less than 2% of venture capital funding, and even when we succeed, we're still asked if we deserve it. The system is rigged, and the only people who don't see it are the ones it favors. The control room didn't cut to commercial. The cameras kept rolling. Madeline cleared her throat, suddenly uneasy. We'll be right back, she said with a forced smile. But it was too late. Within an hour, the clip was everywhere. Social media exploded. Darius Bell just exposed the media on live TV. This was powerful. The way he looked into the camera, chills. But not everyone agreed. Here we go again, another millionaire pretending to be oppressed. Stop playing the victim. Hard work matters. By the noon, every network had picked it up. Some called him brave, others called him bitter. The next morning, the Morning Exchange released a statement. We value open dialogue and diverse perspectives. While today's discussion was more intense than expected, we stand by our commitment to honest conversation. Darius laughed when he read it. Honest, huh? Tasha called him, half laughing. Do you realize you just set the internet on fire? He rubbed his temples. Wasn't exactly the plan. Well, she said, you're the most talked about CEO in America right now. He didn't answer. He already knew what came next. Praise, hate, noise, and maybe danger. By the following day, he started receiving threats. Anonymous emails, messages, even an unmarked package outside Enova's headquarters. Just one sheet of paper with a single word written in bold. Enough. Tasha frowned. You need security. Darius nodded slowly. He knew this was the cost. Every time a black man spoke too boldly, there was always a price to pay. But silence was never an option. Later that evening, Tasha walked into his office holding a folder. We got an offer, she said. From who? A network. They want you to do a one-on-one special about race, business, and the system. Darius exhaled. So now they want to listen. Tasha smiled faintly. Looks that way. What do you want to do? He thought for a long moment. He could walk away and let things cool down, or he could use this moment to say what needed to be said. Tell them I'll do it, he said finally, but on my terms. Tasha nodded slowly. Darius looked out the window at the city lights stretching into the night. This wasn't just about him anymore. His viral moment